blending 0 to 60 in just 3.4 seconds. This also fits 1.5 inches lower with a unique design that has an aggressive front splitter, larger front vent, and the same hood from the TRX with a yellow racing stripe. And around back, it's got a hard tonneau cover and it's aggressive rear spoiler to keep it stable at a top speed of 170 miles an hour. You'll also notice it's a quad cab with a short bed, which makes this truck over a foot shorter for better handling. Inside, you got these aggressive bolstered seats with a Rumblebee badge on the backrest, this flat bottom steering wheel with foreign stitching, and metal paddle filters. There's also carbon fiber on the dash, a Rumblebee plaque on the center console. But what really matters is there's a remote drive mode and e-school mode, in case you can use burnout. But if the Hellcat engine is a little super safe, there's a Rumblebee 392, which has a 6.4-liter Hemi V8 that makes 470 horsepower. And there's a base Rumblebee model with a 5.7-liter Hemi V8 that makes 395 horsepower. Check this out. Ram just built a Hellcat power street truck and it's an absolute beast. So it's called the Rumblebee SRT. And it's powered by a 6.2-liter supercharged V8 that makes 777 horsepower. It sets that power to 22-inch wheels with large Brembo brakes that are wrapped in 3.5 tires, which led to 0 to 60 in just 3.4 seconds. This also fits 1.5 inches lower with a unique design that has an aggressive front splitter, larger front vent, and the same hood from the TRX with a yellow racing stripe. And around back, it's got a hard tonneau cover and its aggressive rear spoiler to keep it stable at a top speed of 170 miles an hour. You'll also notice it's a quad cab with a short bed, which makes the truck over a foot shorter for better handling. Inside, you got these aggressive bolstered seats with a Rumblebee badge on the back. I'm Brad Sherman.
Okay, I don't want ads. Fuck you. Oh my god. Look at this shit. Garden Grove. I used to live there.
Chief number is going to be 12315. 12315.
They've been doing this since yesterday at this time when the leak first began. 40,000 people in this area have been forced to evacuate.
144 out.
Parts of Cypress, Stanton, and Westminster. CBS LA's Michelle
Damn, I used to live right there.
345.
Firefighters are so concerned. Michelle.
It's crazy.
And Pat, I just got an update on the numbers. 44,000 people are now under evacuation orders. One official here at the command post told me that if this tank explodes, it's going to be like a bomb going off. And I've talked to plenty of people today who say that this is a very real possibility if they cannot stop the leak. The other scenario would be a major catastrophic leak of the hazardous materials in this tank.
Oh my god.
This is as bad as I've ever seen. This is real. Don't mess around.
Emergency responders in Orange County are giving orders to 40,000 people in several cities, including Garden Grove, Stanton, Westminster, Cypress, Anaheim, and Buena Park.
It just literally showed my old house.
Neighborhoods and businesses saying there are two possible scenarios. The compromised hazardous materials tank could spring a major leak, or
The other option that was told to us is that it blows up. That was what we were handed. A leaking tank or a tank that blows up. That's why we extended the evacuation today in an overabundance of caution. This is highly volatile, it's highly toxic, and it's highly flammable.
the chemical leak was discovered Thursday at GKN, an aerospace manufacturing facility in Garden Grove. Fire officials say the cooling system failed on a tank containing toxic epoxy used for windscreens on fighter jets. An initial evacuation order was lifted, but officials say on Friday they expanded it to a larger area as the tank continued to heat up and threaten the surrounding community.
I've been in the fire service for 32 years, and it's the most significantly dangerous event I've ever
$347.
Limited short-term exposure, maybe you inhaled some of the vapor. It can cause significant irritation in the lungs, the nasal passages, and it can also cause nausea. It can also cause dizziness.
At an afternoon briefing, authorities say that the air quality registered within normal limits. Contractors for the Environmental Protection Agency are monitoring the air. They set up devices in the parking lot of Rancho Alamitos High School that was closed for the day. as experts across the country work with local hazmat teams to try and mitigate the danger. It's a wait and see game.
The other concern we have is it's extremely flammable and in its current state, very reactive and can cause that explosion, which is why we have that hard perimeter in place.
So when can people go back home? Well, I asked that question, and very simply, the officials say we do not know. Here's another thing, Pat, that I just found out. There's a strawberry festival, a very, very popular event going on right now in Garden Grove. Tomorrow there was a parade planned and a 5K. Well, that's now been canceled. We're live in Los Alamitos. I'm Michelle Geely. Back to you.
Serious repercussions. Thank you so much, Michelle. And assignment editor Mike Rogers is monitoring this leak at the desk. Mike, you spoke with the
That's what you get for stealing from me, California.
Yeah, Pat, it's this
Welcome to karma, bitch.
Make windscreens for airplanes with an epoxy type chemical that in small doses and once it is fully used is not toxic at all. But in the state that it is in right now is very concerning to fire officials, as you just heard there in Michelle's piece. Live pictures now from the helicopter. They've been doing this issue where they've been spraying water on it. That is to keep it cool. Now, I learned from the chemist today that this material has a boiling point that is less than water, and it has properties in it that causes it to heat itself. That is why, obviously, the explosion is of a concern, but even if it just leaks out, that is also of concern, because since it's got those tough self-heating properties, it can heat up and cause a runaway effect, is what it's called.
How is
That's
that
why you see
possible
them
for
dousing
space?
water on
A
this
space machine?
area as
Come on.
cool as possible.
In an uncontrolled environment with a leak, you can potentially have a lot in the atmosphere, and any flash or spark or even temperature can cause what is known as a runaway reaction, where when you begin the polymerization, it's exothermic, meaning that the reaction releases heat, and I think you can start to see the problem there. Heat initiates the reaction, but the reaction releases heat, and so you get this, what we call runaway, where it's uncontrolled, and it can lead to, yes, fires, explosions, where pressure really builds up very quickly.
Yeah, so that's the issue here. As we go back out live to the helicopter now, you can see they say even if it were to leak out, there is still the chance that it explodes. And as Michelle pointed out, there are things next to it that also have combustible material. So really a tough situation here, and unknown exactly when this is all going to happen. You heard Michelle say there's not a lot of options here for firefighters or for the crews that are handling all of this. Hopefully somebody comes up with some kind of solution that will,
Top chat, live chat.
We're waiting for it to either
Hello?
deal with whatever problems that entails or explode potentially, which is also, of course, very
Is anyone there?
Yeah.
What is this? Hello, hello. Who's it? Why can't it hear me? Yeah. Can it not hear me?
So they can go where others won't and always get it done. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. We all want more. More progress. More dreams. But what were you? Born with spina bifida. Caused by his dad's exposure to Agent Orange in Vietnam. Josh Turek. 21 surgeries by age 12. But he put up 1,000 shots a day to make Team USA. Back-to-back gold medals! Now Josh is running for Senate to reverse Donald Trump's health care cuts and take on the insurance companies. Iowa families are hurting, but Josh Turek's got the strength to fight back. Both Betts is responsible for the content of this act. Demonic seduction. You cannot resist or do anything about it. Hybrid offspring. People believe that he was half dragon and half human. And strange abductions. These beings from outer space are what people have sex. In cultures throughout the world, there are tales of intimate encounters with extraterrestrial beings. But could these stories be more than just myth? Did aliens come to Earth?
Tonight, Tulsi Gabbard.
Roger.
Just moments ago, we heard that a press conference began. It looked like New York City Mayor Zohar Mamdani is attending a press
Second
conference.
batch of UFO files. Jesus
Just
Christ.
moments ago, we heard that a press conference began, and it looked like New York City Mayor Zohar Mamdani is attending this press conference. Let's listen to officials giving us an update in Staten Island, on Staten Island. Great.
Good evening, everyone.
I want to first.
That's our president, Mamdani.
Fire Commissioner Lily Bonsignor, Chief of Department John Esposito, EMS Deputy Chief Ian Swords, and FDNY Chief Medical Officer David Frieson. I also want to thank Staten Island Borough President Vito Casella for being here. Today at around 3:30 p.m., a fire broke out in Richmond Terrace here on Staten Island. This is a complex, fast developing emergency situation. More than 30 New Yorkers, both civilians and first responders, have sustained injuries. 2 first responders with non-life-threatening injuries have been transported here to Staten Island University Hospital. Both are safe. 1 fire marshal.
He was upstairs. He called down to us earlier.
1 firefighter is in serious condition. A few minutes ago, I met with a firefighter and his family, as well as the fire marshal. I'm deeply moved by their courage as well as by their service to the city. I'm heartbroken to report that 1 civilian has passed away. I send my deepest condolences to their loved ones. I want to express my gratitude to every first responder who rushed to the scene.
We believe that the
First
father
responders
has
did
left
what
his
they
car
always
no
do.
longer out for.
They ran towards danger so others could escape to safety. Firefighters responded all across our city. This has been an all-hands-on-deck response from approximately 70 fire and EMS units. More than 200 first responders are on site in an active fire scene right now. I commend each of them for their quick response and for their courage. Firefighters have brought this fire under control. However, this does remain an active fire scene. Once the fire has been extinguished, FDNY marshals will hold a comprehensive investigation into its cause. The information that yields will then be shared with New Yorkers as soon as we have it. In the meantime, I want to ask New Yorkers to keep those who have been injured and the person we lost in our thoughts and to wish them a quick recovery. I also want to add that earlier today, I was with the fire alongside a firefighter and a woman that he saved after using his bare hands to save her from a car that was overflowing with water the other night during flash floods across Brooklyn and Queens. That is just one example. This evening is another of the incredible work that the men and women of the FDNY do every single day, so often without recognition, so often without the notice from across the city. And I want to make very clear just how much we appreciate that work, how life-saving it is, how transformative it is for so many families who can rest assured knowing that there are men and women like these who will do everything in their power to keep them safe. That is the story of this fire as well. It is first responders from across the city rushing in to try and save the lives of those who are in danger. And in doing so, expose themselves as well to that danger. And we now continue to pray for them and their families as they make this recovery. I will now pass it over to our fire commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you for the kind words and being here with us during this difficult time. This is one of those very difficult fires that happened about 3:30 or so. We received multiple phone calls for smoke in the area of 3075 Richmond Terrace. Our units were within 6 minutes, and they were met with limited visibility and high levels of smoke, heavy smoke. There was a fire in the basement of a 150 by 150 metal structure in the rear of a shipping dock. We knew that 2 workers were trapped in the basement and there was a fire. The changes in the conditions caused our units to transmit a second alarm, which brought additional resources to the scene. Shortly after our companies were there, we had an explosion. And the explosion caused serious injuries to multiple FDNY members. We had over 30, as the mayor said, over 30 patients that mostly were EMS and fire. We had a few civilians and unfortunately 1 fatality. This was a very complex situation that put us in a position to really show the skill and the
Who is
bravery of the
this
FDNY.
small brain?
This is stuff that they do over and over and over again. We got very lucky this day. We got lucky in the sense that none of our people were killed. It's unfortunate that we had 1 fatality and they did everything they could to get to that person. I'll turn this over to Chief of Department, John Esposito, to talk about the operation.
Yeah, well, you paid the big
Thank you,
bucks.
Commissioner, and thank you, Mr. Mayor. So when our units
Who
arrived on
was
the
that
scene, we were
lesbian?
confronted with a fire in a confined space and a report of workers missing. Confined spaces are very dangerous operations for any rescuers. We initiated firefighting operations and search and rescue operations. While we were conducting these searches, a second explosion occurred. We had firefighters inside conducting searches and on top of the barge and adjacent to the barge. We had several that were injured. We did recover a deceased civilian. The fire is now under control. All searches have been conducted. There is nobody remaining unaccounted for, and there will be an ongoing investigation. I'll now turn it over to Deputy Assistant Chief Ian Swartz from EMS to talk about our injured members.
Thank you, Chief. This incident produced a total of 36 patients. 2 are civilians. Like I said, we had 1 deceased left the scene. 1 was transported to Richmond University Medical Center, and also 34 members of the FDNY, including fire marshal and firefighter and 2 rescue paramedics were transported here. In addition, about 10 were brought over to Richmond University Medical Center. So we got. Turn it over to Dr. Brazil.
I'm Ashley Hinson, and here's what I believe. Our veterans deserve a hell of a lot better. Healthcare companies are ripping you off, and members of Congress should not trade stocks. That's why I worked with both parties to expand mental health care for veterans. I'm working with President Trump to take on insurance companies, and I'm fighting to ban stock trading in Congress. I'm Ashley Hinson, and I approve this message because I'll work with anyone to get results for Iowa.
When did I first realize music was my thing? I started street performing. I sang for about 90 minutes and I got a taco, a girl's number, and like $90. There was definitely a small community that started me up. Honestly, each interaction was so much more impactful than any of them understood. There was a woman that came up to me. She just said, I know that a lot of these people are walking by, but I want you to know that you're blessing all of our nights by singing. It meant so much to me at that time, and that gave me so much fuel to keep doing it day in, day out. My primary goal that I start every song thinking about is making people feel less alone. Music got me through some of the most difficult moments of my life. The community that music gave me when I felt like I was alone is something that I could repay for the rest of my life, and it still wouldn't be enough.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Fire Commissioner. Thank you, Chief of Department. I'm here to brief you on the 2 most seriously ill firefighters. One, a fire marshal who's currently intubated, and the other, a firefighter who is currently doing very, very well. In a confined space, you are susceptible to the obvious, which is flying debris.
Gentlemen, received a slew of citations.
Very brave firefighters are suffering.
401.
They're suffering from something that is silent, which is a blast of energy. In a confined space, that energy hits you and can penetrate organs. Thankfully, both of these firefighters do not have penetrating injuries, and they do not have blast injury damage to their organs, to their heart, lungs, or abdomen. However, Fire Marshal Cucharo has been impacted by this wave of energy to his head and brain. He has a small temporal fracture on the right side, which will heal well, and he has a small brain bleed on the left side. We will be watching him very carefully over the next 24 hours to make certain there is not subsequent brain swelling. As long as there is not, he should do well. But right now, he is very critical, but stable. He is intubated. He's on multiple medications to keep him calm so that his brain can repair itself. In terms of the other firefighter was in serious condition when he arrived, but is doing very well now. He is being observed to make certain that there is no subsequent muscle injury. Overall, over the next day, we should have hopefully better news for tomorrow. Thank you.
Before we sum up, I want to thank the mayor for coming to Staten Island. I want to thank the fire commissioner and a great team. They're the greatest fire department in the world. And as bad as today was, and as bad as today is, it could have been worse. Our prayers, thoughts are with the family of the deceased. Our prayers and our thoughts are with those 35 or 36 who were injured. And it's a stark reminder, as they sort of alluded to, of the danger, inherent danger that comes with these jobs, EMS and firefighters. People are running out looking for salvation, they're running into danger. And I can just imagine what some of their family members are thinking. So what's important here is that we come together as a family. There's no family better than the New York City Fire Department. They will be there for those who are injured in the EMS. Staten Island is a family that we come together and we're there for one another in time of need. So we will continue to be there. Whatever we can do, we will be. Staten Island University Hospital is a family that now is entrusted with the care of Dr. Prasad. So let's stick together. Let's keep these folks in our prayers. Let's make sure that this can't happen again. But let us know one thing, that this fire department in New York City EMS, there is nobody better. And let's pray that these men walk out of here on their own 2 feet in the not too distant future. Thank you.
Deliver smiles, earn extra. Download the Amazon Flex app.
Robin Hood. In the depth of Robin Hood, people will really take a second look at the Robin Hood legend. The story of Robin Hood changed over the centuries, depending on the era that it was told.
This movie feels very different from the rest of the Robin Hood legends. It just has its own twist on it. Like, what if Robin was this bloodthirsty cutthroat? He comes from this violent, brutal, cold world where everyone you meet is probably trying to kill you.
Michael Sarnowski is one of the great voices in film today. There's confidence in his storytelling that I was just blown away by. The scope of the movie is phenomenal, beautiful and epic.
We ended up shooting in old castles and churches and mountains. We really wanted to feel like we were capturing the connection between nature, spiritualism, and the intense violence of the medieval times. Robin has to understand the sides of his identity. How do we transition from one sense of ourselves to someone more than that?
Michael Sarnowski is trying to transport you to something larger, to explore myth and truth behind legends. I think audiences will feel that the story is beautiful and human.
I exposed Minnesota's billion-dollar fraud scandal. You saw the first one, and now it's time for round 2. That's right, guys. It gets better. Are we going to learn more? Yeah, we're going to learn a lot.
No. $9.25 million.
No, only community. No, that doesn't sound.
How could they say the building was closed? Natural building?
Yeah, that's mobility.
Looking for it.
I never heard of it.
On the fraud. And they have no defense. Would you like to see anybody in the government here held accountable?
Most definitely, because there can definitely be an allocation of funds.
The Minnesota
because if you're giving the money to them, it's not going to other people. Of course.
Fraud scandal continues to get worse and worse as billions of dollars of fraud have been exposed. And as I showed the world the blatant fraud taking place on daycares and other locations across Minnesota, it became the most viewed video expose on the internet.
It had probably over 200 million views, or impressions at least. That is crazy. Everybody knows about this now.
Created instant change within the government as the Fed sent thousands of federal agents to Minnesota and the HHS.
Isn't it crazy how some 23-year-old virgin Mormon YouTuber ended up causing an insurrection, destroying the entire political career of a former vice presidential candidate, and is now basically leading the awareness of $1 trillion awareness campaign for fraud? Oh my God.
Was over
You believe that?
$185 million in all payments to childcare. And while
Jesus.
politicians like Tim Walz call people like me white supremacists and far-right delusional conspiracy theorists for exposing the fraud, meanwhile, he actually dropped out of running for re-election. The Minnesota
Yeah, if it was so unfair and it was so much a lie, why did you drop out?
Fraud scandal has a
Very
run in the
interesting.
nation. Protests and riots took place, all starting because daycares like Quality Clearing Center were exposed. However, the daycares is only a small portion of the fraud taking place in Minnesota. In this video, I will take you who has continued to allow this fraud to happen and connect all without shore you, exposing all the fraud through trade connections of the business owners.
Yep.
What's up? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead. How do I